Australian involvement in Afghanistan could continue beyond the year 2020. The Prime Minister and the opposition leader have opened the first parliamentary debate on the 9-year war, and both reaffirmed their support for the mission. But on other areas, there's disagreement, such as the charging of Australian troops over the deaths of Afghan civilians. Today, the Defence Chief spoke out on the matter, promising to give the men all the support they need. He also revealed another incident in which a civilian was killed, but on that occasion, Australian troops have been cleared of wrongdoing. Political reporter Hayden Cooper.
Welcome to the House of Horror.
A small and lonely protest outside.
What do we want?
Troops out.
When do we want it?
Now.
A sole voice of dissent inside.
The Australian people are entitled to know what we are trying to achieve and when our troops can come home.
It may be Australia's most deadly war since Vietnam, but there was no mass outcry to mark Parliament's first debate, just this disruption.
Julia Gillard was telling lies. This guy is breaking my arm here. Let me go.
As one woman was dragged screaming from the building.
Thousands and thousands of people being killed in Afghanistan.
It punctuated the furious agreement on the floor of the chamber.
Mr Speaker, Australia's national interests in Afghanistan are clear. There must be no safe haven for terrorists. We must stand firmly by our ally, the United States.
A premature end to our involvement would tell the Americans and the British that Australia is an unreliable ally and a fair-weather friend.
For 9 years, Australians have fought and died. They were sent with total support.
They will go with our best wishes, our prayers for a safe return.
We in the Australian Labor Party stand shoulder to shoulder with George Bush.
And now they're shoulder to shoulder with his successor. Julia Gillard lists two fundamental reasons for staying: to fight terrorism and support the alliance.
We are taking the fight to the insurgency.
It'll stay that way for years to come. Training the Afghan forces is still expected to take until 2014, but that won't be the end of the Australian mission.
We expect this support, training and development task to continue in some form through this decade at least.
For his part, Tony Abbott agreed on the motivation for war and the reasons for staying.
There are no quick solutions and no painless options here. There's just the near certainty that the wrong choice will be disastrous and the likelihood that the harder choice now will turn out to be the better choice for the future.
And after his own trip to the front, he's now disowned his defence spokesman's call for more troops.
The Coalition accepts Senior Commander's assessment that the current force strength is sufficient for current tasks.
The only hint of disagreement was over the charging of Australian soldiers for the deaths of 6 Afghan civilians.
We respect innocent civilian life.
No one should rush to condemn the actions of soldiers under fire operating in the fog of war.
I'm asking questions, Senator.
In a tense parliamentary committee, the Chief of Defence spoke up to defend the treatment of the soldiers.
We will make damn sure that the 3 individuals who are being charged have all the defence, the legal defence that can be mustered. We've given them every bit of support that we could. The Chief of Army has bent over backwards to ensure that they have everything that they need in this difficult time for them.
And he too is comfortable with the broader debate about the war and the number of Australian troops deployed. The next fortnight will deliver the sort of examination of the war effort that's been lacking now for 9 years. Scores of MPs and senators will speak, and although most will agree on the mission, voices of dissent will emerge. Some already have. The Greens' position is well known.
I think we should bring our troops home.
So is Andrew Wilkie's.
A clear majority of Australians strongly oppose the war.
Add one more name to the list.
We're losing. We lost 21 people, 152 injured, and a lot probably emotionally traumatised on top of that when you count these cost of war. To train a force that we don't know who we're giving that force to, that to me is insane, quite frankly, and irresponsible.
But for the sake of the toll so far, there'll be no surrender.
Their names are written on the War Memorial in Canberra. Their names are written in our hearts. a loved one lost for our sake. In the ultimate, I can promise them only this: we will remember them.
From now on, every year the Parliament will remember, with an annual update from the Prime Minister. Hayden Cooper, Late Line.